Hello, my little subjects. My name is King Wolfall. Welcome to my recap and thoughts for NXT Stand and Deliver 2023. I took less notes this time because I have to recap both this and WrestleMania Night 1 tonight. It's already midnight. I have a very tight schedule this weekend. So yeah, I took a little bit less notes. We're gonna go over these matches, how I feel about the results, how many predictions I got right, and we can see if you and I agree on how well the show was booked. Was it the best NXT show ever? No. Was it a very fun and exciting NXT? Yes. It was a very fun show. It's very rare that NXT shows aren't fun. So yeah, it was a good show. Like I said, not the best in the world, not the best stand and deliver ever. But it had a couple really good matches on here. During the kickoff show, they had Schism versus Chase U for control of Chase U. Throughout the match, they teased Duke Hudson turning, like he was getting mad he wasn't getting tagged in. And at one point, Schism was like in firm control of the match, and he ripped his shirt off and he put a Schism shirt on, and then he squared up or like on Schism's side, and then he started attacking Schism to stay with Chase U. And as much as I am not a huge fan of the Duke Hudson Andre Chase pairing, I really love their finisher, the fratliner. I really love that tag finish. And it's we'll see if they can win me over. I think elsewhere in this match, Ava finally debuted. Ava Rain. She was looking a bit green, but not awful. Like she was looking green, but passable, if that makes sense. Like she, hopefully, it could be nerves being in front of a crowd. She may be better like in training behind closed doors. And that's why they thought she was ready for this match. She did fine. Hopefully they'll have her wrestle a little more often on NXT so she can get some more experience in front of fans, because I think that's what she probably needs. So yeah, Chase, you got the win. I had predicted Schism, so that's one wrong for me. Women's ladder match: Gigi Dolan, Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, Indy Hartwell, Tiffany Stratton, and Zoe Stark. So this match I felt like could have been a lot better than it was, and should have been a lot better than it was. And what kept making it weird for me was all of the spots like were slow. Like it felt weird. Like people would get ready for their spots and you would have like a lull, like a couple seconds of a lull before the spot actually happened. I wrote for an example in here. At one point, Gigi Dolan pulled a couple ladders into the ring and like put a ladder overhead to do the spiral ladder spot, and no one got in the ring to do the spot. And then some people finally started piling in to do the spot, but it felt odd to have her just prep for that spot with no one in the ring. And like there were multiple times where people were on like three times like in a row where someone was standing on the outside holding a ladder waiting for someone to do the basement drop kick to the ladder. It just felt weird and like slow for a ladder match. And like there was even a part where Indy Hartwell started climbing the ladder, but like super slow and staring up at it. And it was like, it fit her character oddly enough, the way she was climbing the ladder, but she was going so slow. Like people were like very obviously waiting for other people to get in place for spots, which could just be camera work. Like camera should have been focusing on something else, but they were focusing on the people waiting to get their spots in. So it felt weird to me, but it was still overall a very good match. A lot of really fun and insanely cool spots. And Indy Hartwell won, which is insane. I thought for sure Roxanne Perez would defend. I guess she's going to the main roster probably, unless she's going to stick around for a little bit and lose a feud and then go to the main roster, but we'll see. So Indy had at one point someone had like I can't remember who attacked. It was either Zoe Stark or Tiffany Stratton had like hit Indy in the gut with a ladder a few times, and so she was having trouble climbing because her gut hurt. And then we see Dexter Loomis pop up behind her. She doesn't see it, and he slides in the ring, like underneath through her legs, and just stares up at her. And then he gives her a thumbs up, and he picks her up on his shoulders, and he helps her climb up the ladder, which is a very heelish thing to do, but because it's index, it's face, and it's beautiful. And she pulls the belt down, and we have a new women's champion. That's insane. This I didn't think they would put the belt on Indy Hartwell. I thought she would be another like main roster call up sooner or later, and you can have her. You could have The Way basically. Besides Austin Theory, you could have The Way on the main roster, just kind of hanging around. Would have been fun. But Indy's new women's champion, and I'm very happy about it. And not happy that I'm 0-2 for predictions for Stand and Deliver, but happy for Indy. Tag title match. I really didn't have any notes for this other than two things. It was D'Angelo family versus Gallus versus the Creed brothers. My two things were Joe Coffey finally returned. He helped Gallus defend, so Gallus are still tag champs. That's one correct guess for me, I guess. And the Creeds botched their tower spot on the outside like really bad. So I can't remember who was in the tower. It was a Gallus member. I want to say one of the Creeds, one of the D'Angelo family, and then I can't remember which Creed, but they do that weird cannonball where they jump up the top and they grab their knees and just cannonball into him. And he went to do it, but he didn't hit the tower at all, and so the tower just took the bump, and he just kind of jumped next to him. And I get that was probably the safest way to do it, but if the safest way to do the spot is to just not hit the people involved in the spot, then don't do the spot because it did not look good. This match just kind of happened. Cool to see Joe Coffey back. Gallus is finally a 3-man unit again, which is lovely. So yeah, this match just kind of happened. This is I think this was the weakest match on the card for me personally. Other than maybe Schism versus Chase U, but that was technically a kickoff show, so it wasn't technically on the card. It is what it is. Next up, you have the 5-way for the North American title: Axiom, McDonough, Dragunov, Dragon Lee, and Wesley. I'm still really bummed that Axiom's entrance isn't in 2K23. Like, that feels really lame and like a giant missed opportunity. Maybe they just didn't want people putting his entrance on all their created superstars. I don't know, but yeah, it's a shame that it's not in the game. The entire match was insanely fast paced. Like, there was not a lull in the action at all. Even like people taking, like, you would get a dive spot where everyone would get knocked out, and then two people would find a reason to get up and just start kicking the crap out of each other. It was a very insane match. Just some fun spots. I didn't write down any cool spots, but I did write down that Axiom did this cool moonsault where he like jumped straight to the top rope and then moonsaulted out onto. What did he moonsault onto? I don't remember, but it doesn't really matter. So he hit the moonsault, and his tights started falling off, and he reached down to pull him up, and he realized that he like. I don't think he broke his belt. I think it just came disconnected. But he was like laying on the ground trying to fix his belt so his pants didn't fall off. Immediately after he was trying to sell this moonsault and then realized his pants were coming off. It was actually very funny. Insanely fun match. It was a really weird finish. I did not like the finish. The finish for me and the winner for me kind of keeps this from being match of the night for me. Although it was a very, very good match. So Wesley defended, which I think I mentioned in my prediction video. I'm not really that big of a Wesley fan, mostly because I really don't like his like overconfident or like super confident like babyface like character. I think he would work really well with this character as a heel. Like genuinely, I really think he unless he's supposed to be a heel and I'm missing the point. If he's supposed to be a heel, then he's doing a great job because I don't like him. But he feels like he's supposed to be a babyface, but he's like overly confident as a babyface, which I'm just not a big fan of the character. But he's a really, really good wrestler. But the finish looked like it didn't connect. So Dragon Lee, Wesley, and Ilya Dragunov were in the ring, and Dragunov went to go lay in a boot to Dragon Lee. And then Wesley did this like the cardiac kick. They did the cardiac kick, and it looks like he hits Dragon Lee. Like, it doesn't look like he hits Dragunov at all. Maybe it's just the camera angle, but they showed in the replay, and to me it looks like he kicks Dragon Lee and doesn't even touch Dragunov, and then he pins Dragunov for the 3, and it didn't look good to me personally. I wasn't a big fan of the finish, and I wasn't a big fan of Wesley retaining. I would have had Dragon Lee win the belt, or Axiom. Axiom was super over, and this people were cheering for Axiom like crazy. That's just me, but Wesley is really starting to win me over. Maybe if I watch NXT a little more regularly and get a better handle on what his character is supposed to be, because right now I'm just not a big fan of Wesley. But he's really winning me over with his in-ring work outside of his character work. He's like he is the exact opposite of Dominic for me, where I don't like Dominic's in-ring work, but his character work is phenomenal. Wesley's in-ring work is phenomenal, but I don't like his character work. It's the exact opposite of Dominic Mysterio for me. Next up, we have Grayson Waller versus Johnny Gargano. This was such a fun match. I don't think I've made it any secret. I'm a huge Grayson Waller fan. He's probably my favorite NXT guy, like full stop. This is my match of the night, personally. I thought it was so fun, so good. And I think part of the reason, too, I put this over the 5-way is that there's story behind it. The 5-way, there wasn't too much story. It was just 5 dudes kicking the crap out of each other. There was all the story, not even just of Gargano being Sean's guy to come in and stop Waller from being a jackass, but also like Waller, when he was first starting to be like on the rise, like took out Gargano before Gargano left for a while. So yeah, there was a lot of story to this, which helped a lot. Some really insane spots. So Grayson Waller set up chairs, kind of like a table on the outside, and Johnny ended up suplexing him into it, but I don't think he was able to lift Grayson, or Grayson didn't give him enough of a jump, so he just brainbustered him onto it, which was insane. Waller did his rolling stunner by jumping over a table at one point, which is kind of simple compared to some of the things that he and Gargano both do in the match, or like in general. But I thought it was cool. It was just a cool thing. At one point, Candice got involved, and Candice LeRae started beating Grayson Waller with candlesticks, which is fun. Waller did a coast to coast onto Gargano. Eventually, Gargano got the Gargano escape locked in. Grayson Waller taps out, and that's another incorrect guess in the King Wolf final prediction column. I think I have one correct. So Schism I got wrong. Roxanne I got wrong. I got the tag titles right. Wesley I got wrong, and Gargano I got wrong. Insanely fun match. It's just after the match too, Candice and Gargano were celebrating on the ramp, and Index came out to celebrate with them. So the way minus Awesome Theory were on the ramp, just cheering. It was celebrating the win. It was really fun. Yeah, I'm interested to see where Grayson Waller goes from here if he shoots up to the main roster. I think this is a really weird time to move him to the main roster, because obviously you'll have like Braun Breaker going to the main roster, probably Roxanne Perez, probably bring in some people in from other companies to debut. Jay White, please. A few different things happening in the world of the main roster, and with how the him and Sean story is going, it feels weird for Grayson Waller specifically, like Grayson Waller's character specifically, to take one loss and go, nope, going to the main roster, screw this. Like, I feel like Grayson, most NXT call-ups happen after a big loss. I feel like Grayson's character would genuinely benefit from going up to the main roster after a big win. I don't see that happening. He'll probably go up to the main roster after the show. He'll probably go to one show, and Braun Breaker will probably go to the other. But yeah, it was a very, very good match. Next, we had the women's tag team title match, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Fallon Henley and Kiana James, with Josh Briggs and Brooke Jensen, obviously. Not a ton happening. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn jumped them at the beginning of the match. Nothing insane. It was a good match, but nothing insane happened. They were teasing fallout between Kiana and Fallon again. And then the match ended not I wouldn't say abruptly, because it felt like they had a shorter time than the other matches, but they fit a lot of like big spots into the time they had. It ended because Kiana James was trying to get Brooks Jensen to give her purse so she could cheat, so they can defend. But Fallon Henley and Josh Briggs were being the like babyface of the duo and being like, no, I want to do this the right way. We don't want to cheat to defend the belts. And then Kiana James got caught and pinned, and we have new women's tag team champions. So that's another incorrect guess for King Wolfowl. I really thought that it would be good to keep the belts on them longer, but I guess if you're gonna split them sooner rather than later, then get the belts off of them now so they can have their fallout, and you can get a mixed tag match probably at the next pay-per-view between Kiana and Brooks, and then Josh Briggs and and Fallon. Josh and Fallon, Kiana and Brooks. Those should be the pairings. My brain completely like I said, it's midnight 30 right now for me. So yeah, hopefully that'll go fun. Plus, I really like Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, so thumbs up, I guess. NXT title match, Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker. Trick Williams, phenomenal hype man. He could end up being like a top manager one day. Like, dude's so good. Can't say like I think I've only seen like one Trick Williams match. So I don't know how he'll be on his own, but as like a manager and hype man for Carmelo, phenomenal. He comes out and he gives his intro, and Melo comes out in like Lakers colors, and behind him, or during the like first part of the intro, there are behind Trick Williams actually. There are jerseys with all the people he's been beating, or he's putting people's names on T-shirts and like burning them or trashing them. The jerseys with all the people's names on it, which was really cool. And then he came out with the like decked out in like the Lakers gear. And then because Braun Breaker is a Steiner, he came out with he said, I got that dog in me, and it was a big dog house on the screen. It wasn't a real dog house, that would have been cool, but it was on the screen. And just a bunch of barking and police sirens. Or not really, like Scott Steiner sirens. You know the sirens if you're a wrestling fan. Because Steiner came out. The beginning of the match was really fun. It let Braun Breaker show a little bit of his ring psychology and a little bit of his more like agile style, which is nice because sometimes in Braun Breaker matches you just get him being the powerhouse, which isn't showing how good he actually is in the ring, and a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people sleep on how good Braun Breaker actually is because of this long title reign we've kind of been forced upon us. But yeah, at one point he kept like outmaneuvering Melo, and then Melo went to go like walk towards him, and he just dropped down on all fours and started barking at him, and Melo like jumped up to the top rope and like sat on the top rope and stared at him and like looked over to Trick Williams like, "Are you seeing this? What is going on?" It was fun, and eventually things kind of broke down. Ref got bumped. How did the ref get bumped? I didn't put it on my notes. How did the ref got bumped? That's what matters. Trick Williams ends up hitting Braun with the title belt. Braun kicks out. Melo then hits, or Breaker goes for his like gorilla press into the World's Strongest Slam, and Melo reverses into a code breaker, hits nothing but net. 1, 2, 3. Carmelo Hayes is your new champion. That's another correct for me. So 2 out of the, how many matches were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 out of the 7 matches correct for your boy. So yeah, it was a very fun show. At the end, at the end of the title match, Braun Breaker actually came out and or not came out, he was already out there because he just got beat. He actually handed the belt to Mello and pointed to him like, this is the guy. So Braun's absolutely going to the main roster after Mania. I would honestly, depending on who walks out with the IC title, I don't think I would put the belt on him right away, but maybe have him stake a claim towards that IC title, or he could maybe beat Theory for the US title. But I don't want to kill Theory's momentum. We'll see. We'll see what they do with Braun Breaker. Braun could go straight for a belt, or go. Maybe we'll just have him beat up the Miz. That also seems like fun. Whatever you do, just don't let him feud with Baron Corbin as his first feud after Mania, because the Baron Corbin call up feud has been done. It's don't do it. All right. So that was NXT Stand and Deliver. Overall, a very, very fun show. A very good show. The only downsides for me, really, were I was expecting more out of the women's ladder match. It felt a little slow for a 6-person ladder match. And the men's tag title match just kind of fell flat for me. But I'm happy to have Joe Coffey back. So yeah, overall good show. Like I said, I waited till after Mania, and I'm tired because I had to. This show was happening while I was at work, so I had to rewatch this show and watch WrestleMania Night 1, and then record these videos to get them out on time for you guys, so I can share my opinions with you guys, and you guys can share your opinions with me. So do so in the comments. Let me know how you felt about NXT Stand and Deliver, how you feel about the future of NXT going forward with Mello and Indy Hartwell as your champions. Also, you got Gallus, Wesley, Alba Fire, Aladon. Let me know, actually. This is interesting because I feel like my Wesley opinions are probably a controversial opinion because he's a very beloved person in wrestling right now. So let me know how you guys feel about Wesley's character and persona, and fill me in if I'm missing something about his persona. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be good people, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.